I have to move my car off the street this morning because they're doing street work. But we're going to do a review of the beyerdynamic DT770 Pro 80 ohm versus the Audio Technica M30s, which I realize isn't a true product-to-product comparison. Should be the M50, although I tried those out too, and I'll tell you about that. But I've owned M30s for several years. Anyways, let me get my car moved. All right, car's moved. It's actually a beautiful morning. My review this morning is going to focus on build quality, bleed when you're recording, and the audio quality, and just giving you my impression. I didn't hook up to a spectrometer, so audio spectrometer. Anyways, didn't hook up to one of those, so it'll be just my ear test and my general overall feelings of the product. I'm back in the office studio, and once again, not a comparison per se, not a versus, just an impression of this upgrade of gear in my studio. So recently I purchased the DT70 Pro 80 ohm, and this is an upgrade from my Audio Technica M30. So I realized that the like product, at least in price, would be the M50. But I'll give you my impression, because I also tried the M50s at the store and noticed a couple things that really pushed me towards the DT770s. So the first is, I've used the Audio Technica M30s. They're like $70 or something like that. Pretty inexpensive, and if you're looking to do, just get a basic studio setup, they're going to be fine. I've used them long enough that I had to replace these recently. You can see they're all beat up. Let's see if you can focus on them. So they were pretty beat up, and I purchased new ones. Definitely more comfortable. Let's see if I can get it to focus on the new ones. I'm pretty hard on stuff here in the studio. I drop things a lot, or I've been wearing headphones and walked away from the microphone when I'm recording, forgetting that I'm plugged in, and yanked literally my whole setup down. So these have lasted fine. You can see that they're broken right there. I think that's the only place where they were really compromised in any way, but I've probably had them over 2 years, and given how I treat things, it's pretty good. They were comfortable enough, but I noticed at times when I was wearing them for a long time, I don't have any hair, I have no padding here, and they would start to bother me. And so, also the ear covers are small. They do the job, but when we compare it to and this is true by the way on the M50s, they're about the same size. The DT770 Pros, definitely an upgrade when it comes to the comfort level, right? And the build is pretty substantial. It feels better. Now, once again, that it feels better may not tell me anything about what's going to happen when I drop them. They're a bit heavier. Maybe that's going to be worse for them. Maybe they'll drop. I imagine I will drop. I have dropped them, but I haven't broken anything. But I imagine they'll face the same kind of rigors that my Audio Technicas did, and we'll see how they do. I can't really tell you about that for another couple years, I suppose. But comfort level, the padding here, significantly better. And that makes a difference for if you're wearing them for a long period of time. And I do at times do cursory mixes in the headphones while I still want to use my studio monitors to ultimately get a mix, because we live in a condo and because I'm doing my mixing right next to our bedroom, right next to the living room. There are times that after hearing the same song for 4.5 hours straight coming through the speakers, that Deb will ask me if I can mix in the headphones for a little bit. So I try to do that. So the comfort makes a difference if you're doing long recording sessions. So these definitely are more comfortable. So that's my take on the build quality. Now I was going to do a bleed test between the two, right? A side-by-side bleed test. The challenge with that is this, as I mentioned in my intro, I don't have an audio spectrometer to really measure where I am from an actual dB level coming out of the headphones, and because they have a different kind of frequency signature, we'll talk about that in a minute when we talk about sound quality. I could do an ear test just like I think they're at the same level, and I did that. I recorded just a click track and wanted to see how it bled into my microphone. And in doing that, I just didn't see a lot of difference. I had to remove Rain because I could see she was going to start moving around, seeing what I was doing, and it was just going to create a distraction. The bleed test. Let's talk about the bleed test. So all I really did is I wore the headphones, ran a click track through them, so it was kind of a higher frequency coming through, because that tends to be what bleeds. And when I've noticed it is usually if I'm playing a quiet guitar part, maybe finger picking, and I take a break and I just let a note ring out. If you're not careful, you might hear your click track or your drum beat that you're recording to. I record to drum beats and to click tracks depending, and you might hear that coming through, and that could be a problem. So I'll do another video once again on how I mitigate that. That's a different thing. But overall, they were about the same, and I suspect the M50 is probably about the same. You can hear bleed if you're not careful, and once again, there are ways to mitigate that. That was just my ear test. Once again, no audio spectrometer. That's just how it seemed to me based on finding similar levels. Audio quality. This is where things really took a departure. Both of the Audio Technicas, and I noticed this when I tried the M50s in the store, definitely lose something on the low and mids. They accent the highs. So to me, they sound more tinny. What you have to be careful about is when you're listening to something like that, hearing more of the highs, it sometimes gets translated as a better sound because maybe vocals are clearer, or you hear your guitar is better separated from other instruments. But the reality is, my impression is that it's less that you're getting better mids and highs, but that you're just losing a lot more on the lows and the lower mids. And how it struck me with the DT770s, once again, this is my opinion, this is my ear test, is that the audio was much truer to the original sound, much truer to what we were trying to get to. So when it comes to mixing in headphones, I'm getting closer to what I want with the DT770s. These were recommended to me by my friend Will on Discord server, so I thank you for that. These seem to be a good addition for my little studio setup where I record right here in the office. They seem to accomplish everything I need, and they come in at a price tag of about $150 US dollars. I don't know what that translates to where anybody else is. The Audio Technica's M30s, I just checked them, they're about 70, and the M50s, Audio Technicas, are about 150. They're the same as the DT770s. And once again, you know, if we get right down to it, the big reasons that I'm happier with these, or I feel like I'm happier, at least I'm happier to this point, is that they're way more comfortable to wear, and the audio quality overall seemed more true to the sound. So I'm curious what you've discovered, or what if you've used both, either, or if you have another model that you use. Would love to hear your feedback on that, but that's my impression. Thanks.